Okay, guys. This is a continuation of the next pope will actually be the first beast or false prophet of Revelation. What this article talk about is in regards to the mark of the beast, and the questions is that what is this mysterious mark of the beast that will identify the followers of a false Jesus Christ, and who will take the mark, and have you already, and what is it, and who will receive it, and how you can avoid it and all. Well, it is prophesied in the Bible. If you go to Revelation 13, chapter 13, it says where he, who is referring to the beast, causes all the small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on the right hand or the forehead, that no one may buy or sell except the mark that has the mark of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, and Scripture warns that this beast, whose followers are identified by this mysterious mark, will perform great miracles to deceive mankind, in conjunction with a powerful military and political system. Now, this powerful system will be identified by the mysterious number 666. Okay, anyone who accepts this beast mark will be defying God. And God warns this, that the Apostle John wrote that the mark is that those who have a mark will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out with full strength into the cup of his indignation. And surely we should take this warning very, very seriously. And this is dangerous in part, that the taking of the mark is very dangerous, because it also, Scriptures also tells about a loathsome sore that plagued man that took the mark. And I do believe that's cancer, because I did research on this mark, and it does, the substance in the mark, in the chip, it's lithium and some other substance which can cause a cancer in your body. So this is the mark. Okay, this false church that was referring to, that the first beast would head, and we don't know what church that is, and in the Bible it is referred to as Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. And this describes the Roman Catholic Church to a T. And this is described in Revelation chapter 17. Now, this system has its roots rooted deeply in an ancient Babylonian mystery religion. Okay, and it describes as the fallen woman, which is the Apostate Church, because the symbolism of a woman is the church, and so she is a harlot, so she's the Apostate Church, and it's a direct opposition to God. The Scriptures describes this system exercising great political influence with world leaders, gaining and giving favors to them. Now, the Apostle John, identified the Mystery Babylon as a very rich and wealthy church, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations of filthiness of her fornication. And all this you can read in Revelation 17. Jesus Christ sternly warns these people to leave and shun this church. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive her plagues, receive of her plagues, in Revelation chapter 18. And this ancient name is the Mystery Babylon the Great, because the church has its teaching straight out of the ancient Babylonian mysteries, and which are precursors to many of the world's pagan practices. And most religions of today, whether they be out of Roman Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism, you name it. They all have the same roots, because all civilization, all started from Babylon, because that's one of the early empires at the time, and you can also find this in a study of this in ancient history. The oldest civilization began in Mesopotamia, and then from there, when the Bible spoke about the Tower of Babel, and when all the all one language became different languages, and then in that same land, that's where the empire of Babylon stemmed out of in that land of Shinar, as it was mentioned in Genesis. In the days of the ancient Israelites, now sun worship was widely diffused throughout the country adjacent to Palestine, and God expressly warned the Hebrews against this form of idolatry, knowing that it was a strong temptation plan. He warned them, "Take heed lest you lift up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the hosts, you feel driven to worship them and serve them." This can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 4. God is an invisible spirit. John 4:24. He made the sun to provide us physical light and heat to the earth and its inhabitants, and not to be worshipped. God is to be worshipped and not his creation. We are to worship the Creator, not the creation. Despite warnings that the Israelites did fall into apostasy and sun worship, now the prophet Ezekiel saw this chilling sight in a supernatural vision from God, and he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and there at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men with their backs towards the temple of the Lord, and they faced towards the east, and they were worshiping the sun towards the east. This can be found in Ezekiel chapter 8. The 24 courses of God's priests plus the high priest were bowing towards the rising sun of the east. Did God think anything of it? Well, he sure did. It really provoked him to anger because they did this. And so every generation, God's people have had to battle against compromising with God's truth. And it's the same with today, like it was back in Ezekiel's time. You see, and we are not to hold to the traditions and imaginations of men. We are to obey God's commandments. Like Apostle Paul said, "Test all things and hold fast to that which is good," in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Okay, the roots of many modern religious traditions can be traced back to ancient Babylon. Now, the old Babylonian sun god was named Shamash. Now, in Roman times, this name was known by the Persian name as Mithra, and I'm sure you've heard about Mithra, or Mithraism, or the cult of Mithra. They grew out of the Roman Empire during Jesus' time, when Jesus was here on earth. So they were involved in this pagan worship, and even after Jesus' passion, and after he returned to heaven, that's when a lot of the apostate religion began, because they would try to corrupt the true faith which Jesus bought, and to distort it and destroy it, where as we see today in the Roman Catholic Church, because there were a lot of evil people that were trying to distort the true gospel at that time, and that was witnessed by his apostles and his disciples at that time, and they experienced the persecution of it. Okay, and the Mithra was a powerful cult at that time. This can be read in a book titled Roman Society, and you can read all about this cult. And Mithra was also like a king and a shepherd, like Jesus was. So that's what caused like a lot of confusion and about people saying that Jesus was a myth because Mithra was a myth, and so on, because they sound like the same story, right? But okay, where did they get this? Well, Satan does all he can to deceive people, and he attempts to blur everything about the story about true Christianity and about Jesus, and mixes that into pagan worship, you see. So Mithraism, it has its similarities to Christianity, but and it also involves sun worship, which God calls an abomination. So when you have Satan, the devil, the deceiver, who works in his sons of disobedience, because he plants his own kind to deceive the whole world, you see. And there's a lot of people out there I've seen that are being deceived right now in regards to this counterfeit Christianity that is mixing in this pagan religion and claiming that all these stories, these false stories, took place during the time of the Babylon Empire and the Egyptian and all that. And all I can say, guys, is don't be deceived by these false stories about these cults and things, because it can mess you up. And let's see, it tells that a lot too about Mithra, but I'm just going to leave the link and you guys can read into this and have an idea what I'm talking about. Now, it also goes into Christian sun worship, about the history of it. Now that's interesting, because I'm really getting close to the end, and I want to get to that part where Constantine started it all, where he ordered, Constantine was a pagan emperor, and he really didn't turn to Christianity. He really didn't become a Christian as to what history said. It was reported that it was Constantine in 321 AD decreed that Sunday would be a day of rest as a legal holiday. So you see, God did not change the day. It was Constantine that did that. Never said in the Bible that that day changed. And it appears that Constantine intended in doing this to honor the god Mithra, the unconquered sun. Okay? And so you might have heard that saying about Jesus being an unconquered sun. Well, that's false. That had to do with Mithra. So it all has to do with a lot of paganism. And it also further demonstrates that Constantine affirmed sun worship. And excavations from St. Peter's in Rome uncovered a mosaic of Christ as the unconquered sun, you see. So that was a false religion. I'm at the end, so I'll have to continue in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.